After I mentioned the Etymotic ER2XR in my Legacy 4 video, some of you might have asked me what are my opinions on the Etymotic ER2XR, and because I said quite a few negative things about the ER2XR and why they get walled by the Legacy 4s. To me, the ER2XR is a pretty underrated IM, in my opinion. Though they are at the same time quite overrated, because not a lot of people are talking about it. That's why I think they're pretty underrated. But for the people that talk about them, they tend to classify Etymotics as something too good. Like, they just would hype these type of items like they're better than the Blessing 2s, or they're better than the EX1000, or something like that, or something as close as the L4 that I mentioned before. Though at the price, at the usual retail price in the US, if I'm not mistaken, it's around $105. This is actually quite a steal if you are okay with their shortcomings, which I'm going to explain later. Though in Indonesia, where I live, they are quite rare and quite pricier. They're about $150, I guess, if you're gonna purchase this in Indonesia. So my Indonesian review is going to be a bit different from this English review, because I'm going to base this review on this being $105, and if it got it usually become on sale, like occasionally, to about like $70, which is insane in my opinion. If you can get this new for $70, I don't think you'll need a lot of time thinking of getting one, unless you have serious problem with their shortcomings. It is a pleasant IM. It is a good sounding IM. The definition here is very good, very strong. The notes are very well defined. Though they have garbage ergonomics and garbage treble balance. That's the TLDR. Those two are the two shortcomings, and I will explain later when we get to those topics. If you look at here, I have the Shure tapes, the L4, the DM6, the L3, the i-basso IT00, the10T2s, T4s, and the Hazard Sound HZ Sound hard mirror. I'm just gonna say Hazard Sound. The thing, I'm going to use most of these to just explain how these things sound like. I'm not gonna do a full in-depth comparison comparing these to like 8 IMs, but these are going to help me explain how these sound like. And also I have the HIBY R6 Pro here. This is going to be for when I'm going to elaborate, I guess, on how do I get to the conclusions I get using my own soundtracks, like test tracks, because a few of you actually asked me to use tracks to explain these, how they sound like. So this video is going to be a bit longer than usual. If you like this type of format, so tell me in the comments. I'll probably keep doing it, though it's gonna make my videos a bit longer than what it used to be. So yeah. About the build quality and the comfort is, the build quality itself is actually pretty okay. Nothing is nothing is terrible here. Nothing is fantastically great also, but at least nothing is terrible. Their fit, however, it's a bit difficult to explain. When I know you're pretty bored at home in the pandemic era, you got quarantine everywhere, and you start to get bored and you start shoving things up your ass, like everybody does that, and you're gonna have a bit of a rash like around your asshole, so on your butthole, and that's pretty much what's happening here when you jam these in your ear for the first few times. You're gonna have, if you do this, yes, this is usually IMs would be right. This is your ear hole. Your IMs is usually going to be like right here. This is like the ear tips going to be right here. With the EX1000, you go like this, right? Like this. But with the ER2XR, you go like this. Yep. And doing this for like a lot of time in one day while comparing IMs is going to make this do not what the fuck. It's gonna make this uncomfortable. Now you get it. But now I know using the bigger ear tips, I can do this instead. Like I barely put it in, like it's barely in there, and it reduces quite the rash that I potentially might have from jamming things inside of my hole. So that's about that. And also about the MMC. This is actually detachable. I was a bit afraid of pulling the MMCX connector. It's actually a pretty light grip in the MMCX. This is dumb. This is fucking dumb. Why would you put it right there, like that? Who makes cables like that except for Theo? And even if I have like the Theo cable right here, like this shape of Theo cable right here, it doesn't fit because there is like a ring here which prevents the cable from it's fucking dumb. You're gonna look retarded if you use a replacement cable on here. Yeah, so basically this is unreplaceable. Irreplaceable. Damn you, English grammar. Fuck. I did try this balanced on my topping and on my HIBY. They also sound like about what they sound single-ended, but that's about the ergonomics. About sound quality. Oh yeah, by the way, you get a smaller type of ear tips. These are like medical grade silicone or medical grade type of rubber or something. Also you get the foamies, which are huge, and that's it. You got a pouch, and that's it. It's somewhere in my room, so I'm not gonna look for them. So yeah. How about the sound? This actually sounds very good. This sounds very, very good. But I'm putting aside the atrocious penetration that you're gonna have to do to yourself. But I'm not going to use them. I'm not gonna use them even though they have a better fit. Although about the comfort, if you actually did that jamming thing, you're gonna wait a few minutes. The comfort is actually still okay because it's bullet shape. You're looking for comfort in a bullet shape IM. So yeah, that's it. The sound in the general sound signature is they are trying to do something fun and neutral at the same time. That's what I get from here. You have basically standard type of tuning, Etymotic type of tuning, but you add a little bit more bass here. Also, we'll get to that, the overall general. The bass here is very special. The bass here is very special. It is fast, it is textured, it is impactful, despite having a very small nozzle and a very small driver. It sounds very, very powerful and hard-hitting, though not very boosted. So yeah, this bass is fantastic. I really like that. The mid-range here is, though Etymotic is well known for their fantastic mid-range, to me this sounds a bit more shoutier than what I prefer. My mid-range gain, peanut gain, would probably be about the L4's peanut gain, or actually a bit lower is a bit fine. I don't have a lot of problem with the shoutiness, it just come and goes. And it differs with tracks. Like when I listen to surprisingly male vocals, like the Mac Miller Swimming, Come Back to Earth, that one, or like Hurt Feelings, sometimes the vocals get a bit too pronounced. Yeah. Also, the bass the same album, Swimming, has quite a very strong bass also, so you can actually listen to the bass impact here. The treble here is a bit disconnected, I guess. It's a bit not really disconnected. It's about imbalance, like what I mentioned in the L4 review. The treble here, when you listen to the Etymotic, when you get to about 3K, it slopes down pretty fast, and have that type of recessed treble proper here, about 4K, lower treble of like 4K, 5K to about 8K. It's a slope there, so nothing sounds sharp nor sibilant here. If I say a lot of S's here, you're not going to hear a lot of sibilance from the Etymotic. But when I get to the treble air, I somehow hear some type of boost, some type of bump up there, about like 10K ish. I'm not really sure about my ear. Or and 16K ish, like there. It's a bit boosted, in contrast to the treble proper, that a lot of the instruments' fundamental tones are a bit quieter than their harmonic tones. So it sounds a bit, I don't know how. It's like grainy, but not grainy as in it lacks resolution, but grainy in terms of there are like grains of sand in the treble. If you listen to the tin P1s and your hearing goes up there to the 19K, like 20K region, you're gonna hear a lot of grain in the treble. And that's what's happening here. It's kind of like the treble in the DM6. It's not a smooth, like a safe and smooth treble that goes like this, but it goes like that, It's not like the L4, which they are quite boosted up there, like the not the treble air, but the treble proper is a bit boosted, but they go like this, instead of going like this. So yeah, the treble air is quite annoying, and you can actually listen to them, like you can actually hear them clearly. For example, in the Billie Eilish track called Hostage, you might be able to look at that. or male vocals which have that type of raspiness in their quality, like the type thing, you can actually hear a lot of the rasp overpowering the actual vocal when listening to the let me see, Radiohead, like I Promise, you have that little bit of type of guitar playing, and you'll hear that treble air is a bit annoying up there. Also, the inspiration, a tribute to Nat King Cole by George Benson. In Route 66, you'll hear, I don't know what they call that instrument called, I think it's type of percussion or symbol, that in the very beginning, and you'll notice the imbalance there. Like, it's not the very beginning, but in the first 5 seconds, you'll notice there is a significant imbalance of the treble that's overbearing the other frequencies. So yeah, about their technicalities aspect, they actually have a very well defined sound. I don't know if it's because of the boosted upper treble, or because of its quite fast transients, and their bass texture is very beautiful too, like I mentioned before. That's thanks to their transients. Also, they sound very dynamic driver, though they might get a bit smeared in the mid-range due to that, like, peak in the frequency slope there, though it's not very common. There's slightly be a type of smear there, but mostly they sound natural in their timbre presentation. Their soundstage is not very impressive though, in width and height. Their imaging is also okay. Their detail retrieval is pretty good. Detail retrieval and resolution is pretty good. Like that, like what I mentioned before, the notes are very well defined. It's very clearly presented. So yeah. When you hear the treble here versus when you get some piezoelectrostatic like the Shure tapes, you'll hear that the actual treble, the boosted upper treble here is pretty grainy, like what I mentioned before. How that is not apparent in the Shure tapes, because I don't know if it's the quality of the piezoelectrostatic driver, but they sound very smooth up top. Not smooth as in not there, the frequency is not there. No, it's smooth as in clean, very no grain of sand up there. So yeah, the L4, I did a comparison here, so I'm just going to mention that the L4 is still better than these in almost all sectors. And the L3, in my opinion, I would pick the L3 over the Etymotics because of the fit. However, if only sound quality is the defining factor, it would be more difficult, because though I prefer in most cases the Etymotics, the treble there for some tracks would be a bit annoying for me, whilst although the L3's upper treble is a bit lacking, they don't present as much annoyance to me as the Etymotics. The i-bassos, however, have wider soundstage, more impressive, grander presentation of the music. Their bass also extends very deeply, very loudly. though not very tight, and their punch is a bit I guess. I would pick the Etymotics over the i-bassos. Against the tins, however, it's quite a challenge, surprisingly. I hype the tins a lot of times in reviewing IEMs. I would prefer both of the tins over the Etymotics, but not because they sound better, but objectively better, but I would prefer the boon of these two rather than the Etymotics. To me, the tins are just wider. It's a bit less intense type of treble presentation. Also, surprisingly, the tin T2s also have, like, in my opinion, a more balanced treble, and both of them have more balanced treble. The transients are, the texturing is also all better in the Etymotics, but to me, these sound more balanced in general, just in general. So yeah. Again, how's it sound hard mirror? I think it's a bit more of a toss-up because both of them have problems in their treble. In my opinion, here is a bit too boosted. Though, what makes the How's It Sound Hard Mirror as good as the tin T2s in its review is they have that type of resolution. Also, their tonal balance is fantastic. Though the tin T2s is better at soundstage width, and these also have better depth in the soundstage. That's kind of what. The only thing winning here is probably the soundstage depth. Resolution-wise, these are a bit. They're about the same, but these have a bit better resolution. These have a bit better tonality in general. These have about equal size of soundstage. So yeah, I think this is about a toss-up, and the comfort is here better too. So yeah, that's it, I guess. This has been quite a long review. I think I mentioned all of these before. Yeah, so it's not as good. In conclusion, these are not as good as what people think. It's well resolving. It's well defined, I guess. The detail is also better. Yeah, they're better than all of these probably. Maybe not the tapes in the treble region. But their drawbacks to me is just too much. The treble imbalance just kind of ruins the over tonality of these, like cymbal strikes. Yeah, I already mentioned it before. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep rambling if I'm not gonna stop. Okay then, see you next time. Godspeed.